This is going to be a very, very fun review because we're going to be looking at a knife that I think is absolutely gorgeous and that I bet you haven't seen before. And if you have, then you probably already have a large collection of knives from this company, and that is Santa Fe Stoneworks. Now, Santa Fe Stoneworks doesn't make their knives themselves. What they mostly do is beautiful handle inlays or complete rehandles of other companies' knives using this, well, beautiful stonework. And that helps to make them stand out. You see a lot of Spydercos and Kershaws, especially Leeks, with this kind of handle treatment done. But they also market knives under their own name, okay, Santa Fe Stoneworks, that they have produced for them by an OEM in Seki City, Japan. And I did talk with Santa Fe Stoneworks. I spoke with one of their employees. I'm sorry I forgot your name, but she was a very helpful, very lovely woman who answered almost every question I asked. The only one she didn't answer were things that she was kind of forbidden from doing so, had her hands tied, understandably so. One of which being, I asked if they could name the exact manufacturer, the exact OEM, and I was told no, she wasn't allowed to divulge that information. And she referenced the Almar Spyderco situation as to why they're worried about someone coming in and kind of, stealing their OEM away from them and maybe trying to undercut them on the market or something similar. And so they couldn't divulge exactly who their OEM is in Seki City, but it is a Seki City, Japan produced knife, and a damn beautiful one at that. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. I have a lot to say about this, not only in my carry and use of this knife, but in terms of what I think of the model, the name of the model, which admittedly I don't think there really is one, and that's kind of a weakness of the knife. They call this the Santa Fe Stoneworks Damascus 4-inch Linerlock. And they make it with a large variety of different handle insets. I mean, there's a ton of different variations, but I really think we should have a set model name. It makes it easier to recommend to friends. Even if it's just something generic like the Gentleman or whatever, I really think this should have a true model name and model number to make it more easily identified within the community. So that is a bit of a miss, just because it becomes hard to recommend when you have to say Santa Fe Stoneworks Damascus 4-inch Linerlock. It doesn't really stick in the mind. So anyways, I'm kind of babbling, but I'm kind of not. It is information I want to share. But I will say that the lady I spoke to was very, very helpful in giving me all of the details so that I could provide you as thorough of a review as I possibly could. I don't know where the box is for this knife, so sadly I can't show you that. But we can talk about the blade, which you can see this is a beautiful, beautiful Damascus. Now, this is a slightly older version. Let's see, I have my notes written down. These were produced from 2021 to 2025. Okay, so as of 2026, as of this year, they've changed things up a little bit, and the big one being the Damascus. This is a 33-layer Damascus blade, okay? And they told me that it is a VG10 core, and then, what steel did she say was used on the exterior? Let me see, a 410. So we have 16 layers of 410 stainless steel on either side and VG10 at the core. So it is a VG10 Sanmai Damascus, as opposed to like a Damascus billet that is then forged into a blade. So by way of comparison, here we have a Boker Plus Excalibur. And this is a 57-layer Damascus, and it's not a Sanmai Damascus. It is a billet Damascus, which is why you don't see on the spine a separate core in the center. Okay, it's a different construction philosophy of Damascus steel. It doesn't mean that one is true Damascus and one isn't true Damascus. It's just two different approaches to the same kind of idea. So, yeah, 16 layers of 410 per side, and then VG10 at the core for a total of 33 layers. And they called this the Raindrop Damascus, and it is absolutely beautiful. Very good-looking blade. Current production versions of this knife are using a 110-layer rose pattern Damascus. So a different beast altogether. As far as which one's better, I don't know, because I didn't stop to ask what steel the new versions are using, like what the composition of the Damascus was. Probably should have, sorry guys. But this one, this Raindrop Damascus VG10 core. And I have carried and cut with this quite a bit, and I can tell you the VG10 performs really well. It's actually a very solid VG10, as it should be for this price point, which Varies quite wildly depending on what handle material you go with for the knife. Okay, but I will say Santa Fe Stoneworks VG10 from this Seki City OEM is excellent. Easily every bit as good as anything I've had from Spyderco, from SOG, from any company that really used VG10 that had a reputation for a good heat treat. Very, very comparable to MCusta's, or MCusta, however you're supposed to say it. Very comparable to their VG10 and their VG10 Sanmai Damascus. They are also a Seki City OEM, or a Seki City manufacturer, so it makes a lot of sense that the quality would be quite similar. I'm not saying MCusta makes this, they probably don't, but it would make sense that the quality would be comparable to a neighboring Seki City knife maker. The blade length is 3 1/4 inches long, and it is a beautiful drop point. Okay, very, very sharp edge. You can see that secondary bevel. It's a full flat grind. The tip is extremely fine and penetrative, and as a result of that, it'll be delicate. But it's pointy as all hell. It penetrates clamshells and Amazon packages and whatever else extremely effectively. Just be careful, because if you drop it and bust it, or if you drop it, you're going to bust it. Now that said, these knives are covered by a wonderful lifetime warranty. That was something that she really wanted to stress to me. The company has a philosophy that emphasizes carrying and using these knives instead of just treating them as pocket jewelry. So the warranty covers accidental damage such as being dropped or being thrown in the washing machine, or general EDC use related damage. So if you drop that tip, they may be willing to, or drop the knife and break that tip, they might even still be willing to take care of it for you. Same thing if you drop the knife and damage the stone insets on the handles. She explicitly mentioned that they will take care of that for you. So a good warranty if you do damage this very fine, delicate tip. Okay, but I love that blade. Slices quite well. Like I said, it's a full flat grind. It slices beautifully. It goes through all of the cardboard I put it through, because I did subject this to my 75 cuts through cardboard test, and it held up quite well, to the point that I almost wanted to put it through 150 cuts through cardboard, which the way I do things is, lower to medium end steels I like to put through 75 cuts, and then higher end steels I like to put through 150, and if they can still slice paper cleanly after it's all said and done, then the knife passes the test. I haven't sharpened this since that cut test. I had carried, used, and sharpened it before then, but since that 75 cut test, I have not used it. I have not sharpened it, and let's see how well it slices. It's not the cleanest in the world. Okay, I keep it real, you know that. You can see it's dragging a little bit, but it's doing a pretty good job. Okay, 75 cuts through medium thickness cardboard is quite serious use. It's more than the average person is going to put on their EDC blade for quite a long time. And for this to still slice at all, I think it kind of passed with flying colors. I like the VG10 Sanmai Damascus blade on here. Now, the handle material on this is going to differ from one knife to the next. We have these stainless steel bolsters, which are beautiful and well polished. You can see scratching on mine from Carrie. And it is fully steel lined. The steel liners are not skeletonized whatsoever. Maybe I can help you to see this. There's no skeletonizing on those stainless steel liners, which you will notice when we get to the weight, because it is a hefty knife for a knife of its size. But mine happens to have blue Mammoth Tusk ivory. Now, there's two different ways that Mammoth Tusk can be turned blue. One is that you can dye it, but also it can naturally turn blue if it is, I forget what the exact process is called, but I know that if Mammoth ivory is left in high phosphorus content soil for a long period of time, it can oxidize the color of the Mammoth ivory blue. So this may be oxidized Mammoth ivory, it may be dyed Mammoth ivory, I'm not sure, but it is the shavings and smaller pieces that are used on larger handles, and it is infused with a epoxy resin, what they call their fusion inlay process, which is a Denmark produced material. So that what they do is they'll ship off their pieces of Mammoth ivory or whatever material they're using that they don't have enough of to make a handle out of, and a company in Denmark will infuse it with epoxy resin and press it into these beautiful handle scales for them. So on the show side, the presentation side, we have this beautiful Mammoth Tusk ivory. On the back side, we have stabilized Eastern Birchwood, which is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, it's gorgeous on both sides. I wouldn't mind seeing Birchwood on both sides with a non-Sanmai Damascus blade. They may even make that, but if they don't, I would love to see that as the baseline for this model, and then everything else being kind of an upgraded premium version. Now, of course, depending on what material you have on your handle, because they come in all different varieties of stonework and fossilized stonework and all sorts of other stuff, is going to heavily change the price of your knife. This one, according to the rep I spoke to, retailed at about $300. Okay, so that's on the higher end of what they offer. Now, that said, they also offer much more affordable versions, closer to about, I think, $130 to $180. So there's a lot of variety out there within this knife design. Okay, I love this one. I have no regrets about buying it. I think it's beautiful. I mean, just look at that work. Look at that beautiful, beautiful handle. It's absolutely gorgeous. Deployment and lockup, kind of forgot to talk about that. It comes out fast. Okay, it's a single-sided thumb stud, step design. And honestly, what I think the Sebenza should be using, because by way of comparison, here is a Chris Reeve Sebenza 31, and you can see how that kind of volcanoes off or pyramids off. This is a similar style of step design, but it doesn't narrow too much at the tip of the thumb stud. So what we're able to do is very comfortably lock in against it, get good pressure built, and flick the knife out. And it comes out super fast. The lockup is also perfect. I have no play up and down, no play side to side, and we do have an adjustable pivot point if we need to adjust it. And yes, it is dual adjustable, as you can see underneath that pocket clip. So great deployment and lockup. It is a liner lock. There's your timing on the liner lock, right where I want to see it. No jimping or anything to help disengage the liner, but we do have a cutout in the bolster to make it easy to do so. Centering on this particular knife is a little bit of a miss. Okay, and that is, if you see mine, you can see I am almost rubbing that liner. It's not quite, but it's almost rubbing that stainless steel liner. And that is honestly a miss for me. At this price point, that centering should be perfect. I believe what is happening is the tension on that liner lock is so strong that it's pushing the blade over. Because if I push back on this blade to center it, watch the liner lock as I do this. It's pushing that liner back over. So I think that liner needs to be taken out, bent backwards a little bit to relieve some pressure. Not enough, not so much that it no longer engages, but just enough pressure to where it's not pressing the blade over even while it's closed. And if they did that, then we'd have perfect centering. As it sits, it's almost rubbing. Sadly, I can't do the maintenance myself, as the knife is not self-serviceable. Okay, you can see the only screw we can adjust is the pivot screw. We don't have any body hardware to adjust. This gives the knife a beautiful presentation, but it makes it less user-friendly, so keep that in mind. So centering is a bit of a miss, admittedly. That should be perfectly squared away. Now, for all I know, I could send this back to Santa Fe Stoneworks and they would fix that for me. And after this video, I might try to. I might ask them if they'll fix that. Because, again, $300 is what they want for this particular version. That really should be perfect. That's a lot of money. I know some folks will be saying, well, $300 for a VG10 blade, Damascus or not, is way too much money. And to that I say, it ultimately depends on what you're using the knife for. Okay, if you're just looking for hardcore EDC use and you don't care about the looks, then yes, you can do better at this price point. But if you're looking for a highly functional knife that also happens to be gorgeous in its aesthetics, I think you'd be hard-pressed to do too much better. Yes, I know there's competition out there. Yes, I know that there's a lot of options. But for a Japanese-made, American-modified, beautiful, high-quality knife with this kind of handle and that gorgeous of a Damascus blade. And by the way, I have seen pictures of the new rose pattern Damascus, and it is also absolutely stunning. I think it's worth it. Didn't talk about the weight yet. Let's go ahead and bring out my little scale and we'll weigh the knife, because I mentioned it is heavy, fully steel lined, stainless steel bolsters. You know, it's hefty for its size. 3.6 ounces is not nothing for a blade that is only 3¼ inches long. But think about everything you're getting. This is, again, meant to be a beautiful piece of pocket jewelry, but a functional piece of pocket jewelry, not just something to display. That said, there is another miss on this knife, being honest, and that is the pocket clip. Now, current versions are for tip up carry as opposed to tip down, which is an improvement for me. You can see the design of the clip is a looped over deep carry clip, and it doesn't flare out too much on the end. I don't mind that, but I do mind how weak this tension is. Okay, I'm barely pushing upwards on it with just the skin of my finger, and you can see how easy it comes up. Super, super weak tension on that clip. So it doesn't feel super secure in the pocket, which when we have a slick scale like this is a huge concern, because it means this knife can very, very easily come out of the pocket. That said, let's go ahead and show how it carries. It is a relatively deep carry, not perfect concealment, but pretty damn good. Mushroom capping on those screws, however, so for thicker pants, it might be difficult to get this securely fixed. If you have really thick fabric pants, you may only get that much of it buried as the fabric runs into those mushroom capped screws. There's a lanyard hole down here, by the way, very small, can't really fit anything like 550 through there, and on a tip down knife, kind of senseless, but if you do take the clip off, that lanyard hole becomes very useful as it gives you a means of extracting the knife. And that might be the way to go with this because the clip is so weak. Maybe I could take it off and bend it to get more tension, but at this price point, I really don't feel like I should have to. Yet again, that might be something Santa Fe Stoneworks is willing to fix for me. We shall see. I'll probably talk to them after this video. Let's see, what did they... I have a whole list of information over here that I want to make sure I'm covering for you guys. Yeah, I covered everything. Oh, the Rockwell hardness on the blade. I forgot to mention that. She did specify it is 59 to 60 on this blade, so it is a good Rockwell hardness for this VG10 Sanmai Damascus. All right, let's go ahead and breeze through the competitive option segment real quick because I'm already at 17 minutes and my camera tends to overheat. We have the Camillus Pristine VG10 steel, G10, and stainless steel bolster, some file work on the back. Not a big fan of that clip. A good looking knife, but definitely more utilitarian. Much more affordable, much less classy. Price point is about $60 these days. I will say this VG10 outperforms this VG10, and it's very noticeable. Another option, Civivi Elementum in Damascus. This one is a 9CR18 Damascus. Good performance, but lower than this. Carbon fiber G10 laminate handles, looped over clip. We all know the Elementum. Price point for this version is just about $100. It's attractive. It's a different kind of attractive. Oh, almost removed the wrong knife from the screen. And then I showed this earlier. This is the Boker Plus Excalibur 2. 57 layer stainless Damascus, probably 9CR18 Damascus. Cocobolo handles, titanium liner lock. I added the thumb studs myself for easier deployment because I hate front flippers. Price on this is, I think, $250. So now we're starting to get into the same price range as the Santa Fe Stoneworks. And quality-wise, this absolutely blows this away. I love this knife, but the Santa Fe is a different beast entirely. And then for way of comparison, here's that Chris Reeve Large Sebenza, $500 knife, American-made, 6AL4V titanium frame lock, Magna Cut blade, really representing a different style or a different approach to a high-end piece of cutlery. But it's worth showing off because it's not terribly far away in price. It's as far away in price from this as the Camillus Pristine I showed off was. And I guess I'll also show this Land 812S that I have here. TC4 titanium frame lock, S35VN steel. Utility-wise, it will outperform this, but it's up to you if you think it has the same level of aesthetic appeal. This is a very specific kind of knife that is going to appeal to a very specific crowd of people, and I happen to be one of them. I want to see that centering squared away. I want to see better tension on the clip, and I would like to see a true proper name attached to this design. But overall, I'm in love with it. I will continue to carry it, continue to use it, because it is a fantastic knife. I just would like to see those issues kind of addressed. So Santa Fe Stoneworks, thank you for providing all of the information I needed to give a deep and thorough review. And if you're wondering if this is worth buying, absolutely. It absolutely is. These are fantastic, absolutely beautiful knives from the land of enchantment.